Hello! Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Cleo wanted to jump up here. Hello. Cleo says hi to you. In today's video, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Damsel Designed and what happened, and I also thought I would teach you how to make your own circle skirts since I'm not doing that anymore. So if you somehow follow me and don't know, Damsel Designed was my Etsy store that I ran full-time for about 5 years, and I really loved it. So why did it end? Well, I guess I shouldn't say I really loved it. I loved it for a while, but like all things, I got kind of burnt out. Basically what happened is I hit this place where I physically couldn't sew any more than I was already sewing. Like I was doing like 6 to 8 skirts a day, 5 days a week, and my back was killing me. It was so hard, and I wasn't making like incredible money. Like I was doing okay, but it wasn't great. And I guess the results there maybe should have just been to raise my prices, but I was just so tired of doing it, honestly. And so I thought, okay, I'll just take a break. And so I started getting other jobs and trying other things, and it's been over a year now, and I just know that I don't have a desire to go back to that. I also had kind of a traumatic experience happen back in March, which I already wrote about on my blog. I'll link it below if you missed that. But it really kind of threw my world upside down, and so I didn't do much of anything for like 6 months. I mean, I worked, but that was pretty much it. So now I'm feeling a lot better. I feel like we're kind of hitting a turning point, and maybe life will be better for a little while. And I am excited to kind of feel like myself again. So I thought the first thing I would do would be to teach you how to make a skirt. But the thing I want to start by saying is that the way I made skirts when I was sewing them for customers is a lot different than the way I make skirts now. When I was doing Damsel Designed full-time, really in it, I had an entire office space with built-in shelving. I had a huge sewing table. I could cut out a full circle skirt with a arm, like a mechanical arm that my husband built for me, so I could just kind of put in measurements and then go shoo, and it would cut out the skirt. So it was much faster, it was much more accurate, and it was very consistent. Whereas now when I sew, I'm just sewing for me, and I am on the floor or on a small table, and I'm marking things by hand. I'm using scissors instead of a rotary cutter. So it's a very different experience than it used to be. And I mean, that makes sense. It's not my job anymore, it's just a hobby. So it makes sense that I wouldn't have a whole space dedicated to it at this point in my life. But yeah, so I just want you to know, when you watch me sew this skirt today, don't be like, oh my gosh, she's so messy. Yeah, I kind of am, but no one's gonna wear this skirt except me. And I was not like that when I was sewing professionally. So please keep that in mind and do not judge me too hard. The other thing I want to mention is that as I was filming this tutorial, I learned pretty quickly that I am not going to be a tutorial YouTuber. They're hard. Mad props to all of the people on YouTube that do tutorials for a living. This is going to be a very basic how to sew a circle skirt. If you have sewing experience, I think you'll totally get it. If not, you're gonna want to refer to my blog where I kind of broke things down a little bit more, also linked below. I hope that you can see everything okay. But yeah, I hope that you enjoy it. Don't be intimidated by sewing. I'm completely self-taught, and I somehow had a business doing it. If I can do it, you can do it. So I guess without further ado, let's get into the video. So when it comes to making a circle skirt, you are going to need 2 measurements. You're going to need your waist measurement, and you're going to need the length measurement. So the way you're going to do that, here, I got to take my belt off because it's going to add too much thickness. So you're going to take a measuring tape, you're going to wrap it around your waist where you want the skirt to sit. So if you want to wear your skirt lower, that's fine, but I personally think circle skirts are the most flattering worn high-waisted. You're gonna wrap it around. I'm already wearing a skirt, so I'm gonna pull mine in a little bit tighter. You wanna be sure you have enough room for like fabric and stuff for your shirts, for your shirt or sweater, whatever you're gonna tuck in. So I don't recommend being like, or doing it on your naked skin. I would suggest doing it over clothing. So with that, I am at about 34 inches. So that is my first measurement, 34 inches for my waist. For the second measurement, you're gonna measure the length that you want your skirt to be. This is kind of hard to do by yourself. Definitely recommend getting a friend or a spouse or whatever. But you're gonna hold your measuring tape at your waist, like where the waistband is gonna be, and then you don't wanna bend over because that'll like mess up the measurement, you know? So you're gonna stand up and you're just gonna look down and see how long it is. This skirt is 21 inches. That is how long I wanted it to be. Another thing you can do if you aren't able to measure yourself is just measure a skirt you already own that you like the length of. And to do that, you'll do the same thing. You'll just measure from the top of the waistband on down. Obviously, if you like laid this on the floor, it'd be easier. And then you can see how long that skirt is, and that'll give you a length measurement too. The last thing you need to worry about is your seam allowance. I only do 1 inch seam allowance because I sew pretty close to the edge of everything. I'd say that 2 inches is pretty standard, but this is just giving you a little bit of wiggle room basically for the seams to go. So I just did 34 plus 1, 35. It's upside down for me, so I was like, wait, is that right? 21 plus 1 is 22. So this is what I'm gonna use for my waist, and this is what I'll use for my length. All right, voiceover Nikki coming in. The next step is to go to this website. It's Omni Calculator. I'm gonna have it linked below. You're gonna type in your waist measurement here. And the length measurement isn't as important on this website because I don't use this fabric length box. You can read about that on my blog post, but the number we need is this waist radius. So mine is 4.6. All right, now we're ready to sew. So I'm gonna put my fabric here on the table, lay it out. My first step is to mark from the edge of the fabric in my length measurement, which for me is 21 inches. From there, I'm going to count up to my waist radius, which was 4.6, and make another mark there. Then I'm going to make a small semicircle using my waist radius measurement to make a small circle, and that will be my waist. So you can see here that I'm just measuring out from that center mark up that 4.6 inches. The next thing I'm going to do is measure from that small semicircle down that 21 inches. I'm going to go all the way around again, making a larger half circle. So I now have a small half circle and a large half circle for my waist and my length. Now it is time to cut. So we're just going to cut out those lines that we made. We're going to cut the little one and the big one. Now I'm just turning my fabric over, not the fabric I cut the skirt out of, but the rest of the fabric. I'm turning it over so that I can use the remaining space, and I am laying my first piece on top, and I'm going to use that as a pattern to cut out my second half. So I'm just going to cut around the edges. I'm pinning the fabric in place. That's optional. This fabric is just a little bit slippery, so I am just cutting around the edges now. Alrighty, coming up next we have our waistband. Your waistband needs to be the length of your waist plus 3. So mine is 34 plus 3 is 37 inches long. For the width, you want it to be 2 times the width that you want your waistband to be, because you're going to fold it in half, plus an extra inch for a seam allowance. I like a 2-inch waistband, so mine is 5 inches wide. Alright, now we're going to actually begin to sew. So we're going to take both of our halves of our skirt and we're going to put them together face to face. Face to face means that the nice side of the fabric and the other nice side of the fabric, the sides that you want to show, are facing each other. And then I'm just going to stitch up one of the sides to make one big piece. Coming up next, you get to see my favorite part of this video, which is when I broke my nail. I was very upset. It's fine. Next, I am going to attach the waistband to the skirt. So I'm attaching the waistband face to face at the top of the skirt, and I am just going to stitch those 2 pieces together. This part can be a little bit tricky because you are sewing a straight edge onto a curved edge, but just go slow, take your time, match them up as you go along, and you'll be fine. This next part is completely optional. I am just taking pinking shears and cutting along the raw edge of the waistband. This will just prevent fraying, but it is completely optional. I used to use a serger, but I didn't feel like getting it out. So then I am folding the waistband over that seam that we just stitched and pinning it into place. You want to put your pins below the stitch, and I will show you a close-up of this in a minute. But you're just pinning all the way along, keeping it as even as you can, all the way to the edge of the waist. Alright, now I'm just checking to be sure the ends are even and that they match. As you can see, I pinned under that stitch so that when I put it in the sewing machine, I will be sewing with my pins. Without having to take them off, they will go past my presser foot, as you can see in this close-up here. This was a little bit hard to film by myself, so I'm sorry if that's a little bit hard to understand. Hopefully you got the picture there. Alright, moving on to the zipper. So to make a hidden zipper, you need to buy a specifically hidden zipper, and then you need to press that zipper open. So you're going to force that little seam open there, and then you're going to press it with an iron so that it stays open. This just allows you to get a closer stitch to the zipper, which is what makes the zipper hidden in the skirt. Now for this part, you are going to need a zipper foot. It looks like this, so it's a little bit different. It should have come with your sewing machine. So you're gonna take off your normal sewing foot, you're gonna put on your zipper foot. Okay, this is definitely the most complicated part. I'm gonna try to explain it. So once you have your zipper pressed, you're gonna have it facing towards you, and then you're gonna take the left side of the zipper, you're gonna flip the zipper over and sew it face to face with the skirt. So remember, face to face is like the outside, the nice side of the fabric, and in this case it is the front of the zipper. So you're going to put it here, right on the edge of your skirt. You need that little plastic stopper right here. Can you see? I hope you can see that. You need the little plastic stopper to be at the top of the skirt. If it's up too high, then it's gonna stick up over your waistband, and if it's down too low, then you're gonna have extra fabric. So you need the little stopper to be right at the top of the skirt. And then you're just gonna stitch on down. It was at about this point during my sewing journey that I remembered that pretty much all sewing machines are different in how you would sew a hidden zipper. That's because a lot of zipper foots are different, and so the way that you have to go about using it is different. So not only is this complicated because it's hard to teach, but it's also complicated because it varies by machine. So I would suggest just looking up a tutorial on hidden zipper, zipper foot, and searching your specific sewing machine, because I think that's probably going to be the most helpful experience. And we made it to the very last thing. So now I am just hemming the skirt. To do this, you just turn up the bottom edge of the fabric and sew it so that it is a nice finished hem on the outside. Once again, I used to use my serger for this. I didn't feel like pulling it out, but you could also use pinking shears all the way around the edge if you are concerned about fraying. But yeah, this is the last step. Thanks for watching this somewhat tutorial on how I make my circle skirts. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you have any questions for me, please DM me on Instagram. I am more than happy to help. But that's the end of this one. I'll catch you in the next one, and I hope you have a magical day. Please enjoy me and Cleo getting in an argument.